Hello, Trump Take 5 here, the channel that tries to give you everything you need to know about the President's Day yesterday in a 5-minute video today. So what would be shocking and surprising in another administration is just more of the same here, with Donald Trump going after Lavar Ball once again. At this point, he got a lot more personal, and I'll just let you look at the tweets and let you think about the fact that this is the President of the United States. It wasn't the White House, it wasn't the State Department, it wasn't Father Lavar's so-called people on the ground in China that got his son out of a long-term prison sentence. It was me. Too bad. Lavar is just a poor man's version of Don King, but without the hair. Just think, Lavar, you could have spent the next 5 to 10 years during Thanksgiving with your son in China, but no NBA contract to support you. But remember, Lavar, shoplifting is not a little thing. It's a really big deal, especially in China. Ungrateful fool. So, the President of the United States called an American citizen an ungrateful fool. How do you feel about that? Otherwise, it's really not anything. It's not news. It's not important to anyone except for these two people, beyond its inflammatory and disrespectful nature coming from the highest elected office in our country. One of the things I saw yesterday that was really tracking and getting a lot of attention was the fact that the White House told reporters that Trump will not have a low-key day and has a full schedule of meetings and phone calls. Soon after that, Trump tweeted that he will be having meetings and working the phones from the Winter House in Florida. This is all related to the fact that the press pool was told that there wasn't really anything on the schedule and that they would have an easy day, which I guess filtered out to the news. Trump got wind of it, and then he wanted to make sure that they corrected that to say that he was actually going to be busy. So they insisted that he was working from Mar-a-Lago, but about an hour later, after his tweet, he went golfing. So he went to Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. This is something that he criticized President Obama for endlessly. So far, since the inauguration, Trump has spent 98 days at his own private property, which is 1 out of every 3 days. And he's played golf approximately 60 times, or 20% of days since he's been the President of the United States. Those were the two most eventful things that the president himself did. But as is usual for this administration, there's a lot of stuff going on throughout the different ranks. Talked about it earlier in the week. Kellyanne Conway was sending signals to Republican voters that it was all right to vote for Roy Moore. However, she was stopping short of saying, go vote for Roy Moore. She was encouraging it, to say the least, in my opinion. She was doing this in her official capacity, and that is actually illegal. She advocated against Jones, saying that he's a vote against tax cuts, he's weak on crime, he's strong on raising your taxes, he is terrible for property owners. And of course, all of that is subjective. None of that is something that can be proven without a doubt. So she's using the influence of her office to say that these things are worse than the accusations of child molestation against Roy Moore. Because of course, that is a moral issue that some people would have trouble with. Walter Schaub, who is the former director of the Office of Government Ethics, filed a complaint. He said he believed that she violated the Hatch Act, which prevents people from making those kinds of statements from their official government positions. They can do so privately as a private citizen, but when they're acting in an official capacity, they cannot try to influence people's thinking in elections. I don't know if anything would come out of this. I think it's clear to anyone that watched it that she was telling people that that's what they ought to do. However, in a court of law, I don't know that it could be proven one way or the other. So it's just interesting to note that at the very least, she's skirting the edges of what she's allowed to do legally in her official capacity. There is more going on in the president's sphere, but it is Thanksgiving in the U.S., and in a rare moment of what appeared to be self-awareness, President Trump participated in the turkey pardon, and he joked about how he has been reversing executive orders of his predecessor, but he was not able to reverse the pardon of Tater and Tot from last year. Then he went on to talk about Harry Truman and how he did not pardon the first turkey, but that he was going to be a nicer president and pardon the one today. So the holiday is a time of reflection. I know in my time scouring the Twitter, like political Twitter yesterday, I saw a lot of tweets about families being torn apart for the holiday for their lack of support or support for this new administration. Many people were saying that they'd be having their Thanksgiving alone because their families had disowned them because they were against Trump, things like that. And that is the sign of the times, but I think that the reason I started this and the reason that I'm going to continue to do this is that there's plenty of good in the world. There's plenty of other things happening. When we're stuck in a situation where we're confronted with all of this noise all of the time, 24 hours a day, it has an effect on our reality in that we think that everyone is bad, everyone is a predator, everyone is only looking out for themselves, and the reality is that's just not the truth. So on the holiday, try to be thankful for what's good. I'm sure at the end of the day, you'll feel a lot better. And that really is the bottom line. Whatever happens, short of complete annihilation of the planet, there is another side. There will be a point when we get to the other side of this situation. I don't know about you, but I want to have everything I had going into it at the end. I don't want to give anything away to this. So there'll be a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow, plenty of things that I didn't get into today, but for right now, let's think about what's good. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and support the channel by sharing it and following on Twitter and retweeting our tweets. We got a long way to go, but we can get through this to rebuild things on the other side of it. Thanks for watching and come back tomorrow because I'll be talking with you again.